Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Stephanie and I'm a physical therapist, and today we're going to go through a hip mobility routine. We're going to do this routine that you can do before you work out, like before you go for a run or before you go for a walk or before you do any strength training exercises. This just helps to kind of loosen up those hips, kind of loosen up the legs and the low back and get the blood flowing and get you ready to go. It also helps because if you have mobile hips, then that helps decrease the stress on your knees, decrease the stress on your lower back, and helps prevent pain and injury. So it's important to have good hip mobility and also good strength. And they kind of go hand in hand. So some of these exercises that we're using to work on hip mobility actually work on hip strength too. So follow along with me, and this is something you can do any time of the day, but I like to do it right before I go for a run or before I go for a walk or even just first thing in the morning. Okay, so we're going to start off on our back, and you're going to keep your feet a little more than shoulder width apart, and we're going to do a supine 90-90. So you're just going to rock your knees to the side as far as you can, and then go back to the other side. And you're just going to go back and forth, just nice and slow, pausing for a second at each side. And if you can go all the way down to the floor, that's great. If you can't, that's great too. You can go through a smaller range of motion. All of these should be pain-free, so you don't want to push it so hard that it hurts. And we'll just do a few of these back and forth. This loosens up the hips, it loosens up the lower back, gets the blood flowing. All right, let's go one more to each side. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to do a bridge with a twist. So this is a normal bridge. What we're going to do is kind of rock your knees to the side and then come back to the middle. So rock to the side and back to the middle. And you can stay up in a bridge like that, or you can come down in between. So just like that, rock to the side. And you can go pretty far to the side if you want to, like all the way here and back to the middle. Or if you can't go very far, just go little movements. If that seems too hard, you can just start with a regular bridge at first and then kind of work your way up to the rotation. Do a couple more. Okay. All right, from there, we're going to straighten one leg and we're going to do a straight leg raise. So this is a hip flexor exercise. It works on strengthening the hip flexors, the quads, but it's also good for mobility. So we're just going to lift straight up and down, keep your toes pointed back towards you, and foot flexed, and just up and down nice and slow. You want to go up just about even with the other leg here. Just up and down nice and slow. You want to make sure you go all the way down to the floor. So you don't want to stop before, because if you stop here, you're going to use some momentum. So you want to go all the way down and then all the way back up. Let's go 2 more of those. Okay, and then we'll switch legs. Do about 10 of those. So just up and down, nice and slow. Making sure to go all the way down to the ground. Making sure your foot is flexed back towards you. You can also focus on kind of tightening that quad muscle as you go up. So you want to relax at the bottom and then tighten on the way up. All right, let's do 2 more. Okay. Now we're going to roll onto our side and we're going to do some hip abduction. So you're going to bend the bottom knee, keep the top leg straight, and you want to keep your leg in line with your body if at all possible. Toes flex back again. You're going to lift just about here. So you don't want to lift too high. You want to also make sure when you're lifting that your leg doesn't come forward like this. So do it nice and slow. Make sure you're in line here. Just like that. Going all the way down to the ground, because again, you don't want to use momentum. You can flex your quad if you want to. You can also keep that foot under the leg if you need to. Just making sure you're in line here. Okay, and then before we switch to the other side, we're going to do a little quad stretch. So you're just going to grab onto your foot or ankle and kind of pull back. We're just going to hold for a couple seconds because when you're warming up, you don't want to hold a stretch too long because you can kind of cut off the blood supply. So we want to keep the blood flowing. So we're just going to hold a couple seconds and then let it out. We'll do 5 of these. So we'll call this 3 and 4 and one more, 5. Okay, now we'll flip to the other side and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so bend the bottom leg, keep the top leg straight in line with your body. I'm just gonna go up and down. You don't want to go up too high. You also don't want to bring your leg forward like this. And you don't want your toes to rotate up either. So you want to make sure your toes are pointed straight this way. And nice and slow here. All the way down to the ground in between. Okay, and then from there, you're gonna grab onto your foot or ankle, do a little bit of a quad stretch, just 3 to 5 seconds, and then relax. And again, we'll do 5 of these again. It's 3 and 4, and we'll do one more, 5. Okay, from there, we're gonna go up on our hands and knees. We're gonna finish with 2 in this position. So in this position, you want to keep your back flat, so kind of keep a neutral spine there. You don't want to arch it down too much or round it up like this. So from here, you're just going to kick one leg back, and then we're going to alternate. So we're just going to do one then the other. And you don't want your back or hips to rotate too much while you do this. This is kind of like the bird dog exercise, but just the legs. It's kind of working on hip extension there, kicking back with that leg. All right, let's do one more on each side. Okay, and then our last one we're going to do is the fire hydrant. So from this position, you're just going to bring your leg out to the side like this. And this one, we're going to do all of them on one side and then switch to the other side. So let's go for 8 of these. And one more, 8. All right, then we'll do 8 on the other side. And this one, you can let your back twist a little bit, but you don't want it to twist too much. So if it's twisting too much, you're probably just lifting your leg too high. All right, let's go 2 more. Okay, so now your hips should feel loosened up, your back should feel a little bit loosened up, and that's a great one to do before exercise, like I already mentioned, but you can also do it after exercise, just to kind of cool everything down, get everything loosened up. So try that and see how you feel.